This woman gave another man the wine meant for her husband-to-be on her traditional wedding day. What was she thinking? Well, let's find out together. Welcome, guys, to another exciting movie journey with us. Get ready as we bring you the full gist about this popular Nigerian movie that's packed with morals and hidden lessons. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe because we have lots of very interesting movie goodies coming your way. So, grab your popcorn as I take you through this unforgettable experience. The movie begins with a young, elegant, and beautiful social media influencer and radio host, Cami. Cami is creating a video ad for a travel agency, and afterwards she asks her assistant, Sade, how she performed, to which Sade replies, "Perfect." In the next scene, we see one of the best medical doctors, Dr. Bello, who had just returned to the country. He's hanging out at a bar with his girlfriend, Celia, and his friend, Larry. Then Larry's fiancée, Cami, joins them. They exchange pleasantries as Larry introduces Cami to Bello, and they all have a good time together. One day, Larry rushes out of the house to take a phone call, telling the person on the other end that he's busy. Cami calls him from inside, rushing out joyfully to share good news about a brand ambassador deal she just secured with Jamestown, and they both go back inside happily. The next day, Dr. Bello is worried in his room when Celia walks in. Concerned about his mood, she asks what's wrong. He tells her that the charity ball got canceled and the invitees don't have enough time to reschedule. Although the ball is important, Celia encourages him not to give up. They hug, and just then, Celia's phone rings. Bello urges her to answer it, but she says it's her sister and it doesn't matter. Sister indeed. Back at Cami's house, Cami is on a social media live stream, informing her fans about her traditional marriage and telling them she will also be live streaming the event. Guys, believe me, you'll be shocked at the next turn of events. On the day of the traditional marriage, Cami is getting set when her Auntie Ada, comes in dancing with another woman, rejoicing and congratulating her while presenting her with some wrappers. Later in the sitting room, guests are seated and entertained by a local flutist. Sade then informs Cami that Mr. Larry and his family have arrived at the venue. However, while the flutist is still performing, something unbelievable happens that marks the beginning of an interesting story. Larry receives a message, looks at his phone in shock, stands up, and steps out. Bello follows him outside. Once outside, Larry is about to leave the venue when Bello asks him where he's going. Larry replies that there's a place he urgently needs to be and tells Bello to stall the event a little longer. Then he drives off. Seriously, guys, who leaves his own wedding without a word? Back in Cami's room, Bello and Cami are worried as they try reaching Larry, but he's not answering his calls. After several attempts, Bello pleads with Cami to stay calm before going downstairs to join the event. Then, Sade enters the room. Cami asks her to tell Auntie Ada to help stall the ceremony while she keeps trying to call Larry. Suddenly, the greatest shocker happens. Cami received a message on her phone. When she reluctantly opened it, behold, it was a video of Larry and a lady on a bed making out. Cami was instantly distressed and worried. At that moment, she felt like the ground should open up and swallow her. She quickly had a flashback of when Larry was at the bar with the same lady, Fifi, just before Cami joined them. Although Larry and Cami were supposed to spend that night together, alone and with no third party, it didn't go well with Cami. Larry had to apologize, and she grudgingly accepted. Back to the present, Cami was devastated. Then Sade told her, Larry is a manipulator. He knows how to cover his tracks. Surprised, Cami asked Sade if she knew about all this. Sade then revealed that Mr. Larry had made advances at her, which she refused. That revelation got Cami even more upset. She began to wonder what she would tell her fans and family. She then asked Sade to leave her room. Wow, seems this Larry is a philanderer. This is sad, so sad. What do you think could have made Larry leave his own wedding without saying a word? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Meanwhile, back in the living room, where all the guests were waiting for Cami to come downstairs, there were side talks everywhere. A family member stood up to welcome the guests and informed them that Cami had asked them to go ahead with the ceremony, saying there was an emergency. Suddenly, Cami came downstairs. When she was given the palm wine to present to her husband according to tradition, another twist occurred that changed everything. Cami walked straight to where Bello sat, knelt before him, and pleaded with him to accept the wine, just to save face in front of over 50,000 fans watching the live stream. Reluctantly, Bello accepted and followed her to receive the elder's blessings. This act infuriated Larry's relatives, and they angrily left the venue, despite Cami's family pleading with them outside. According to tradition, Cami was supposed to present the wine to an elder from Larry's family in Larry's absence. Later that same day, in Cami's room, Bello questioned her about her actions. Cami insisted she did what she had to do. Bello said she should have waited a little longer. Then Cami revealed the video she had received, showing Larry cheating on her. She said she had to do it to save her family from shame, and that Bello was meant to take the fall because, according to her, birds of the same feather flock together. Bello was stunned and speechless by this revelation. Suddenly, Larry rushed into the room and attacked Bello with punches. Bello fought back, and the two got into a brawl until Cami stepped in to separate them. She told Larry she had to give Bello the wine because she couldn't marry a cheat, then showed him the video. Although Larry tried to apologize, Cami walked out of the room without giving him a chance. He turned to Bello and begged him to talk to her, but Bello replied, "If you love something, you take care of it." Wow! What a perfect piece of advice to a cheating friend. That evening, at Bello's place, Celia was angry and shouted at him, saying his face was all over social media as Cami's husband. Bello tried to explain that he only stepped in because of Larry's infidelity, but Celia insisted he must go on air and publicly call off the marriage or risk losing their relationship. This is getting twisted for real. The next day, Cami was sober in her bedroom when Sade entered to update her about her appointments. However, when Sade mentioned that Mr. Larry was downstairs and wanted to see her, Cami shouted and told her to ask the estate security to throw him out. Afterwards, Larry called Cami on the phone. She picked up and warned him never to call her line again. Meanwhile, at Bello's house, his uncle was furious. He told Bello that his cousin had shown him a picture of Bello getting married to a celebrity. Bello tried to welcome him and asked him to sit while he explained, but the uncle insisted on standing to hear whatever Bello had to say. The next day, Bello visited Cami to ask her to end the marriage, but Cami pleaded with him not to, saying her fans would mock her. Bello, on the other hand, refused. He explained that his relationship was on the line and his family was upset with him. Cami pleaded for more time. Bello gave her until the end of the week to end it, and then stormed off. If you were in Cami's shoes, would you still hold on to a fake marriage just to please your fans, or walk away to find your peace? Let's talk in the comments. One day, Sade knocked hastily on Cami's door, saying there was a problem. When Cami asked what the problem was, Sade told her that Jamestown wanted an exclusive interview with her and Mr. Bello. Later at Bello's house, Cami informed Bello about the interview with Jamestown, but Bello rejected it, stating that he was not her spouse. Cami then reminded him of his charity ball, saying she would sponsor it to raise money for the children. Surprised, Bello asked how she knew, and she replied that she had been doing her findings. Suddenly, Celia entered and asked Cami to pay 5 million naira. Cami agreed, while Bello stood shocked that Celia bargained over him like an object. Cami then left. Back in his room, Bello was angry at Celia for trading him for money, saying he didn't want her money. But Celia used her charms to manipulate him into accepting the offer. The next day at Cami's place, while Cami and Sade were waiting for Bello, he arrived, and at that moment, Cami briefed him that they would act as a couple for the next 6 months, as that was the duration of her contract with Jamestown. Bello reluctantly accepted. Later, they had a mock interview with Sade, but the synergy was missing. Suddenly, Sade suggested they jog every morning to bond and avoid acting stiff. At first, Bello refused, but after Cami's persuasion, he agreed. The next day, while Cami and Bello were on a call with Sade, she told them their answers were in sync, but there was still some awkwardness. When they pressed further, she revealed that their fans wanted a kiss from them, as real couples do. They ignored that part and continued the conversation. However, that evening in Bello's room, while he was busy with his phone, Celia came in happily, showing off the wig and shoes she bought during her shopping spree. Bello ignored her, still focused on texting. The next day at the poolside, Bello was on a call with Cami, teasing her. Cami was blushing like she had butterflies in her stomach. Funny, right? On the D-Day of the interview, after Bello and Cami shared how they met while holding hands, and Bello spoke about the orphanage his parents owned, he kissed Cami. Cami seemed shocked at first, but then played along. You could only imagine her reaction at that moment. That same day after the interview, while Bello and Cami were chatting, Sade rushed in excitedly, rejoicing over the success of the interview and the positive comments from Cami's fans. Afterwards, Bello encouraged Cami to give love a chance, despite her past failed relationships. They then had drinks together to celebrate the interview's success. That night, after their drinks, something very interesting happened. You won't believe it. Bello was about to leave. He hugged Cami and leaned in to kiss her. Although she wanted to, this time she pulled back and went inside. With all these happening, guys, I know you'd want to ask, has Bello fallen for Cami? What about Celia? Well, let's find out together. The next day, while Cami was on a call, Sade rushed in to tell her that a photo of Bello leaving her apartment the night before was trending all over social media. Worried about her reputation, she picked up her phone, called Bello, and told him they needed to talk about the trend. That same day at Cami's place, Cami was seen persuading Bello to move in with her. Bello refused and asked her to move in with him instead. But Cami reasoned that she couldn't move in with Bello, considering the fact that Celia also lived in his house. Bello considered Cami's reasons and then agreed to move into Cami's house. The next day at Bello's place, Celia walked in and found Bello packing his things to move in with Cami. Celia refused at first, but Bello convinced her that he was only helping Cami, and that was all. Celia then said Cami would have to pay more. As she dialed Cami's number, Bello stopped her, saying he would pay the money instead. When he asked how much she was going to demand, she replied, 2 million naira, and Bello agreed to pay. Ah, Celia. Later that day, Bello settled in at Cami's place, and Cami came into his room to welcome him. That night, Cami and Bello went live on social media, telling her fans to ignore the rumors spreading around about them living separately. Now over to you viewers. Do you think Bello and Cami's pretend relationship is turning into something real, or is someone bound to get hurt in the end? Let's hear your thoughts. In the next scene, Larry was seen in his car filled with regrets while browsing through his phone. The next day, Bello and Cami had a good time at the beach. When they got back, while Cami was fast asleep, Bello received a call from Celia asking him for money. This time, it was 300,000 naira. The following day, Cami and Bello had another great time, but this time they played a game of cards together, and you could see them bonding so well. However, when Bello took that same card game to his house to play with Celia, she turned it down, saying, "Cards are for kids," while telling him they could bond better by going clubbing and shopping. She also mentioned a bag she saw online that cost 150,000 naira, but Bello was having none of it and walked away. Greed destroys relationships. However, Bello went back to Cami, and they were having a chat when Bello squatted and asked Cami if they could go on a proper date, expressing how he felt about her. Cami turned him down, citing her past relationship experiences and Bello's connection with Celia, and Bello quietly left. The next morning, while Bello was making coffee in the kitchen, Cami entered but refused to respond to Bello's greeting and left. Even when Sade reminded him about the live session they were supposed to have that evening, Bello looked uninterested. This made Sade ask Cami if anything was wrong, but Cami ignored her and continued with her work. So guys, here's the big one. Back in his room that same day, Bello sat while Celia rushed in, happy to see the money she had received from Bello earlier. But the moment she asked what the money was for, Bello told her it was a parting gift, ending his relationship with her. And here's where it gets interesting. Bello found out that the person Celia called her sister was not actually her sister, but one of the other men she was involved with. Angrily, Bello gave her until evening to leave his house. Wow, I knew Celia never loved Bello. The next day, Larry called a blog, requesting a meeting so he could share a gist about Kamara. That same night, Sade was at Bello's place, telling him that Larry had spilled everything to the blogs, and that Kamara had not been herself ever since. Then, Bello went straight to the bar where Larry was sitting to confront him about hurting Cammy. As soon as Larry poured a glass of wine on Bello, Bello punched him in the face, warning him sternly to stay away from Cammy, then walked away. However, the next day, Cammy lost her brand ambassadorial deal with Jamestown, while Bello comforted her. A few days later, Cammy set up and was ready to go live on social media when, surprisingly, Bello joined her. He convinced her that since he had agreed to help her, he would do it till the end. While live on social media, Cammy told her side of the story and apologized to her fans. Then, Bello seized the opportunity to propose to Cammy again in front of her fans, and they shared a passionate kiss. And this begins a true love story. The moral lesson of this movie is, true love is built on honesty, sacrifice, and the courage to walk away from relationships that drain you. Greed and deceit, no matter how hidden, will always come to light, and when they do, only the sincere survive. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us in this very exciting episode. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell for more interesting and fascinating episodes like this. Till we meet again, goodbye.